Now we're going to focus on a celebration taking place in the Kingdom of Lesotho, a historic day for the Kingdom of Lesotho as the country celebrates the 58th anniversary of its independence and 200th anniversary of its founding. On the 4th of October 1966, the country, then known as Basotholand, gained its independence from Great Britain. President Cyril Ramaphosa was expected to be among the heads of states and other dignitaries to attend the country's celebrations. For more on this, we are now joined by Pokello Mahlomola, who is the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Arts and Culture in Lesotho. Pokello, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. What does this moment mean for Basotho?
It is, thank you very much, and thank you to your viewers as well. It is a very great moment indeed. It is the 200 years of the foundation of the Basotho nation, as well as the 58th independence of the Kingdom of Lesotho. We are now at the stadium, the Lesotho Stadium, where celebrations are going to start from 9 o'clock, and people are coming in droves. It is really a very exciting moment for the Basotho nation. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us what can be expected today. What is part of the program? Also understand that Prince Harry was in the kingdom as well as part of the celebration.
Yes, it's Prince Harry was here. It's not only him. It is also the representative of the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. He is here. The Deputy Secretary of the United Nations will be here too.
Is the historian there?
Prime Ministers from a couple of African countries will be here. Even President Ramaphosa is expected to be represented here, if it's not him in person coming.
And speaking about President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, he's also the president of the ANC. And when we speak about the history of Lesotho, we can't deny also the role that Basotho played during the height of apartheid in assistance of the African National Congress.
That is very true indeed. I mean, Basotho and the ANC. Remember the very first ANC, when it was founded or formed, King Letsie the first was one of the leaders. So ANC, it is a Basotho party, and as such, the nation has played a very critical role, including losing some of its citizens to the struggles of apartheid. So yes, indeed, it is a very crucial moment for the ANC's connection with Lesotho as well. And this year, we are going to have celebrations around the Maseru massacre that happened in 1986.
Yeah, and I wanted to quickly now go back again to the founding of Basotho as a kingdom. If you look back at 1818, Moshoeshoe at the time consolidating various Basotho groupings and became the king. Can you take us back to that part of the history of Basotho? How the kingdom itself was formed?
Yes, indeed. Around 1822, King Moshoeshoe I met one of his, they are called Marena Asilikani, covenant kings. The very first ones who are called Bahwahwa, they come from Botabute. He met King Moshoeshoe I, and they agreed to work together. And later on, there came in a couple of other chiefs from other clans to agree to work together under Moshoeshoe as their king. And this is basically how...
But I don't like my light.
Apologies for that. That must be our historian there, Kalusi. But you can go ahead, Pokello.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, and that is how the Basotho Kingdom was founded. Around those years, 1822 And there's also another covenant that was signed in the year 1824, which is exactly 200 years ago, which Moshoeshoe formed and decided that they would move for strategic war reasons, because those were the times of war.
Yeah.
That's when they decided to move to Tababusi, which was the fortress for Kim Moshoeshoe.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
Yes, and indeed, Kim Moshoeshoe was very strategic. He settled on top of the Tababusi plateau, where he was able to conquer all his wars, because he was settled there with all his people, and it was very difficult for the enemies to climb up the mountain, which, I mean, Tawabusiu is actually called, it is the mountain at night. So the enemies were not able to climb there even at night, because the mountain looked like it was bigger when it is at night, maybe because of the effect of the darkness. And as such, Lesotho has developed from there under the protectorate of the British. The British protected the nation until in 1966, when Lesotho was granted its independence from that colonial rule of the British.
Yeah, and that's what's being celebrated today as well. Then there's the argument and the conversation around the so-called quote-unquote lost territory. Speak to us about this lost territory and what it means for Basotho. There was a motion that was proposed by one of your MPs in Lesotho last year to make sure that some of the land that was lost during that time, the time that you describe as the war period, that land must be returned. And that land include a province in South Africa, the Free State.
Yes, indeed. It is actually...
Pokello, you can go ahead.
It is actually, yes, sir. It is actually, we like to call it the conquered territory. It was not lost, it was conquered by the Boers specifically. And this area includes the Eastern Cape, the Free State, part of Transvaal, or part of the Gauteng. Actually, the Vaal River there, it's where the boundaries are presumed to be. The maps are very clear, and the United Nations...
Pokello, can you hear me? Pokello, okay. Sure. You were saying the United Nations did what?
There was a resolution that was passed around the fact that when the British returned the independence to the country, they should return also all the territory that was taken from them. So that resolution is still sitting there. Unfortunately, I can't remember the actual clause, but one day as you interview me, I will give you the particular UN resolution that has awarded Lesotho its all territories that were conquered during the colonial rule.
It's the 1962 United Nations resolution. But in conclusion, what happens now for Basotho? Are you giving up on that fight to have the land returned?
Thank you very much for that question, but it wants me to politics. Okay, I mean, you see what is happening in the world today. You see, the great Soviet Union was disintegrated at some stage. It is not for this generation to decide the fate of that territory that was conquered. It is just that it is a sleeping problem that will keep on haunting us. It is unfortunately the status quo now, but I can't say it has been forgotten or it will never come back
Okay.
to haunt the leadership. It would be prudent for the leadership to visit that decision and then redress it accordingly.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Pokello Mahlomola is with the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Arts and Culture and Lesotho.